Hey guys, check this out. I know I've been off the radar for quite some time and I'm getting a lot of requests. Hey Darren, where's a new video coming out? Well, the simple answer is that my life has just become that overwhelming and you just have to pick and choose your battles. And one of my battles that I've chosen not to take on is the battle of producing videos. As much as I love doing it, so in response to that, I thought, hey, I've got my camera. I'm working, or my phone, which has a camera. I'm here at my desk and I'm anxiously engaged in what I call a good cause. Now, that good cause is what I will call and reduce down to the area of marketing and presentation. And you know that of the many kings that I have and believe in, one of them is presentation is king. So what I'm currently working on, and this is just a little sidebar of my life because I've got quite a few projects behind the scenes that you guys are just unaware of that have prevented me from being able to shoot additional videos. But they are on their way. Let me just tell you that they are on their way. But today, after doing a job first thing this morning, and yes, it is the weekend. I do work on the weekends. I had a car, I had finished, and then I immediately jumped on the computer because I was brainstorming my home page. And this partly is in response to a few conversations that I've had with various people throughout the country, throughout the world. And as you can likely imagine, I get endless requests, endless questions that are thrown my way. And I have redone my contact page to try to, well, manage that to the best I can, and it has been effective. So I essentially am forced to learn how to manage my new reality approximately every 3 to 4 months as things get busier and busier. Yes, that's the good news, and by no means do not take that out of context and think that I am complaining. I am simply informing. So back to the moment, I'm working on my homepage and presentation is king, and I'm writing a very compelling case for myself as to why a person would possibly want to use Darren as a detailer. Why choose Darren? As simple as that. Why choose Auto Fetish? Now, I get many requests from guys like yourself or girls. There's a few girls out there, and thanks for joining in, where they will ask, hey, Darren, I just put up my Facebook page. Can you take a look at it? Let me know what you think. Hey, Darren, I just did a new logo. Can you tell me what you think? Hey, Darren, will you take a look at my website? Tell me what you think. Now, of course, I wish I had the time to review and scrutinize and offer my, what do we call it, constructive criticism. I wish I could. Because as I tell people, and once again, virtually everything I teach you guys is things that I've taught my own children in raising them. Now, why do I even offer that comparison? I'm not actually quite sure why I do. I just know that anyone close in my life will literally be able to parrot me. It's what we call the lexicon of Darren around the house. I will have my kids stand up as a joke or, to make everyone laugh, and they will start regurgitating the endless things, slogans, taglines, proverbs that come out of my mouth over and over and over again. And if you are a fan of my channel, and thank you very much for watching, you know that there's a theme. You know that there's certain phrases that will come out of my mouth over and over again because they are A, very, very relevant, and B, it's just a way that I have structured them and figured out a way that not only makes sense to me, but hopefully makes sense to you. And one of them is presentation and how vital that is. And one of the things that I've taught my children, and likely you can find them in one of my videos, which is that we all advertise. The problem is that very few of us understand the rules. And if you don't understand the rules, then you can't possibly use the rules to benefit you your life or your customer's world. So I think it's very, very critical to always take the time to understand the rules. And I guess the foundational rule to understand is what I call human nature, the human condition, the human experience. Now that is a massive undertaking because there's so many dimensions and facets to the human condition, the human psyche. But I'm an endless study of it, put it that way. So how the hell does this have anything to do with auto detailing? Let me tell you, and I'm glad you asked, even though you didn't ask. It was power of suggestion, and very specifically not suggestion, but I asked it for you, which is part of my strategy, which is, and this applies to you, that often we are so ignorant or misinformed that we don't even have the experience or the ability to ask the right questions. And if you can't ask the right questions, what does that suggest? To me, it suggests that you will not get the right answer. Now, there's multiple parts of this equation, which is that perhaps you are asking the wrong person, and that's a whole nother video. Recently, I had a guy, and it was a guy that came out, and I'm not going to use his name just to, retain his anonymity. He drove up from San Diego, which, if you're familiar with Orange County, it's about a 2-hour drive. This guy was one of the hardest working guys I've ever met. A young guy, and I'm not going to say kid because that would belittle him as a person, but a young guy, far younger than myself. But I could tell the drive and passion that this guy had, and I told him, I said, dude, honestly, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to make it, because rarely do I see that kind of passion and drive. So to bring it back onto the path that I was originally on, we all advertise, but we just don't understand the rules. And the rules dictate that communication, if you want to listen to the pundits, is 7% verbal, which means that many of you listening to this will think that communication is just all about the spoken word. But you forget, and it's such a gross simplification, and often that's the case in life, is that we just massively oversimplify things that are far more complex than we just understand. And communication is one of those things. So verbal communication is about 7% of communication. So if it's only 7%, that leaves 93% left to what? What other forms of communication? Well, there's the written word, there's all your mannerisms, there's voice inflection, there's word choice, there's how you dress, there's how you walk, how you talk. Everything that you do literally is part of your advertising campaign. And that's the rule. And these messages that you're delivering to the world, most of them, I'd venture to say that most of the time and most of those forms of communication reside below your conscious level. Meaning, A, you don't understand the rules, and B, you don't understand what's going on. But trust me, the world, and it's a two-way street, because the world on the receiving end, they are filtering those endless forms of communication. Imagine a screen, like a screen door or a screen on your window, and they're not all created equal. So some of them will be really, really fine, which means the spacing between the individual mesh, like fabric, is either bigger, smaller, or the fabric itself is either tighter or bigger. Sorry, can't figure out the perfect word in that moment. So imagine, let's say clothing. So like my clothing here, I could hold it up. I would not, well actually I can see through it. And this is like a filter, it's like a screen. So what happens is that the person on the other end, because of our psyche as individuals, we will filter out information, we will allow certain information through, and we will allow certain information to not get through. And that's our own unique filter. Typically in society, we call it our lens, or lenses in which we view and interpret the world. And that's a byproduct of both genetic and conditioning. Wow, okay, I've really gone off the path. But it really is critical and relevant. So after I finished my job this morning, I hopped on the computer and I started working on my home page because it is a constant refining process, and because I'm asked by so many guys, typically there's some common themes, which is, hey Darren, how do I get more customers? It's like, well, and when I read or I look at their websites, it becomes very apparent that they just lack certain communication skills. They also lack what I call marketing skills. Excuse me. For example, and I teach this to my own children, I can take the same concept and I can deliver it in 10 different ways, communicate it in 10 different ways, whether it's a video, an email, a text, and I will get 10 different results. But those results can be the difference of, let's just say it on a scale of 1 to 1,000. 1 is horrid, 1,000 is exceptional. So based on how I deliver the message, which will then produce results, and the results will be the difference between a scale of 1 to 1,000. Now, if you fully understand that, you will realize, wow, is that really true? I mean, I can take the same concept and deliver it in 10 different ways and really get 10 different results. And those results can be such a huge, vastly, how about if I restate that, can be just massively different. Then that would, to me, suggest that it is worthy to put the time and effort into understanding human nature, understanding that we as emotional creatures, which we are an emotional species. Unlike the animal world that works mostly off of instinct, we have what's called awareness, and more specifically self-awareness, which means that we have the ability to step outside ourselves and observe our actions, observe our thoughts, and that's called self-awareness. So you need to understand that, because I look at these websites and it's like the same old bullshit, excuse my French, as the saying goes, but it's just the same old garbage. And it's not really garbage. It's just that, okay, if I looked at 10 different websites, in fact, I just had this lady tell me the other day, she said, Darren, I just spent 2 hours looking at 20 plus different websites. I came to the conclusion that you're the guy I want. So A, that's a pretty big compliment in my world. B, it just confirms what I'm trying to teach you here. So if you can, and do this study on your own, check out the different websites, do a search, whatever your city is, whatever your county is. For me in my world, I live within a county called Orange County. Now, because it's so densely populated, when you're driving down the freeway, driving down the street, you can't tell when you're entering one city or the next unless that city happens to have a sign out there that says, welcome to the city of Placentia, the all-American city, or welcome to Newport Beach, whatever. Now, if you happen to be driving on a street that says that and announces it, then yes, you realize, hey, I'm leaving one city, I'm now entering another. But no other indicators would suggest that, because it's so densely populated. So in my area, the point is that when people go searching for services, they simply put in Orange County, because we just reduce it down to a single city, even though it's comprised of, let's say, 20 plus cities, maybe 20, 25, and that's kind of a rough estimate. So if I know people are searching for that, and so do this in your area, whatever the area is that you're trying to service, and whatever search terms that would mean that you would go on to Google or Bing or Yahoo, Type it in. Let's say randomly Houston, Texas, which I know is a big city. So maybe you're really trying to service a suburb of Houston. But so you put in, but let's say you are in Houston. So Houston auto detailing services, or auto detailing Houston, auto detailing mobile, or how about this? Mobile auto detailing services Houston. Wherever you are, apply it accordingly. So see what search results come up and click on those pages and see the differences. See what is being spoken or communicated to the world. What is the unique value proposition, or the unique sales proposition? And if that's a term that you are unfamiliar with, what essentially that means is, as a potential customer, and I'm looking at getting someone to detail my car, what makes them unique that I want to pick or choose them above the other competitors out there? So you as a detailer, that's what you have to configure is, okay, I have competition. If I'm a customer and I'm looking at all the competition, what sets me apart as being uniquely different? What value do I bring to the table that's unique, that nobody else can deliver to my customer or my potential customer? Very few people have the ability to communicate that to their potential customer or to your audience. And that's where marketing comes in, and specifically communication and understanding how people make buying decisions. Generally, the rule is that we buy based on emotion. Once the purchase has been made, we will then employ the intellect to rationalize that buying decision. So if you know for them to pull the trigger on that decision, it's going to be an emotional reaction or an emotional response, you need to tap into that emotion. That's where you can separate yourself from the herd, from your competitors, is by tapping into their pressure points. Let's call it that, their pressure points. What is your ideal customer really after? Now, I am not looking for the masses, and I am very blunt on my homepage, where I say point blank, if you are shopping price, I am not the guy for you. I can't be any more clear than that. But more than that, I want to inform them or enlighten them as to, okay, Darren's told me right off, maybe he's calling me a price shopper. Am I a price shopper, or do I really shop value? Well, for probably the majority of the world, it's kind of a combination, meaning it's like a sliding scale. Everyone's a little differently, and based on what they're shopping for will largely determine how much is going to be about price, how much of it's going to be about true value. Is it all about price, or is it mostly about value and price is just a little small facet of that equation? You just have no idea. I just know that I want the value shoppers because A, I know what I can deliver, which is an exceptional service and an exceptional end product or result. But that costs money. If you're looking for a budget detail, that's not me. Go to the car wash. They will be more than happy to disappoint you at the car wash. I do not want disappointed customers, but I know what I deliver is of value. But how do I communicate that to my customers? That's where I've got to figure out a way to get into their head and figure out what their pressure points are, what their emotional triggers are, and figure out ways to pull those triggers through communication. And because it's a website, I'm limited. I can't be there in person, but I essentially have two choices. I can write it through the written word and dissect it and help them down a path that will either quickly, where they can determine, yes, this is the guy that I need to stay away from because he's too expensive. Or Darren makes a compelling argument here. I need to investigate a little further because I'm impelled to investigate further as to what his unique value proposition is. And that, brothers and sisters, is what will lead me full circle to my original intent of the video, which is communication really is king. You are your own advertising campaign, whether you realize it or not. So I recommend you learn the rules and understand the rules so that you can use the rules to benefit your world and your customers' world. And that's what I have spent a lot of time doing. And I am reconfiguring my homepage. So if you want to see how I talk very directly to people, the people reading that find my homepage and are looking for detailed services, it's like, wow, okay, why would I want to choose Darren? And I have recommended this to many of you, and many of you may be sitting out there watching this and saying, yeah, I'm one of those guys. Darren said, hey, dude, you know what? To simplify the moment, because I'm so limited on time, go to my homepage, see how I talk to people. Go to my pricing page, see how I structure it. So there's so much you actually could learn on my website that would answer the very questions that you likely may wish that you could get me on the phone or I could answer to you personally, which, by the way, I wish I had the time to do that, but I don't. But there's a lot to be learned there. So A, I'm very busy. B, there's more videos coming on the way. I think I've outlined the takeaway from this video. Hopefully you learn from it. If you are uncertain as to my website, I am an easy find because I am so prolific on the internet with my YouTube channel. And by the way, that's another way that you can communicate now on your website is have a little introduction video. I'm going to implant, if that's the right word, a video that I made a while ago that is part of my YouTube channel that I made for you guys that you could possibly shoot your own video to help educate the customer. So there's going to be essentially 3 ways I'm communicating to my audience on the internet. The written word, pictures, and video. And I'm going to employ all 3 of those on my homepage so that I can make a compelling argument and stand outside of the herd. And before I leave, that's something I wanted you to do, which is part of the exercise, which is, and by the way, this is the homework assignment. If you guys could, or if you would, below this video, put some comments on there. I want to see how many of you are so interested in developing your business that you will take the time to research your competition and see if there's not a theme that appears. Because there is a theme. I've seen it, which is, hey, I guess you could reduce it down to, we're the best, choose us. We use the best products, choose us. We have the most experience, choose us. We only use grade A, expensive, the best of the best products, choose us. We treat your car like it's ours, choose us. It's like blah, 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 blah. And by the way, look around. That is what I find so funny at so many levels. That one little statement, choose us because we will treat you like family, or we will treat you like your car is our car. First off, how many effed up families do you see? Okay. And my family's jacked up in our own ways, okay? It is dysfunctional in so many ways. So A, do I really want to be part of your jacked up family? So let's pull back and analyze that one statement alone. But I see it used so many times, and not just in the detailing world, but every world. It's like, oh, we're family owned and operated. So, okay, so that means that you are a family owned and operated business that is highly dysfunctional and jacked up like every other family in US of A. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me sign up to that. No, thank you, because I've got that going on in my own world already. Or or choose us because we will treat your car like it's our own. Well, dude, I've seen your car and your car sucks. It's dirty, it's filthy, and yes, I know the proverbial, like, what is it, the house painter. He's got the worst house on the block because he's so busy that he never has time to do his own house. It's like, okay, jack off sign, BS on that one too. Because I hate driving a dirty ass car. It is unacceptable in my world. Do I have time to clean it? No, I don't. But yet somehow I find time to do it. Somehow. You know why? Because I actually love what I do. It's hard ass work, but I love what I do. And I know that once again, communication is king. So what the hell am I communicating to my customers if I roll up in a jacked up van that is disorganized, dirty? What's the message there? Whether it's received at the conscious level or the subconscious level of my customer. So that's your homework assignment. Do some research in your area. Look at your competitor's website, and don't just look at the homepage. Look at their pricing page. Go through it and really kind of study it and see if there's not some common themes that seem to reappear. That and you're trying to look at this not as a fellow detailer and not as a fellow competitor, but as a potential customer. Like, hey, if I'm really a car owner and I really want to seek out a detailer, who would I choose? Who's actually making a compelling argument and offering a truly unique value proposition? So do that. Put some comments below this video and let me know what you find out. It could be as simple as like, Darren, you're right. This is what I found. These are the 3 bullet points that everyone seems to be saying, like, oh, we have the most experience. We use the best products. We treat you like family. We're family owned and operated. We have a passion for clean. We have a passion for whatever. Let me know, because I'm willing to bet in 95% of the cases, it's going to be the same old bullshit. And it doesn't mean it's bullshit. It's just that you're not standing out from the crowd. It's not really unique. It's really like everyone else. They're just regurgitating the same thing that everyone else is doing because they don't understand marketing or they don't know how to do it. What they do is they look to the left, look to the right, and say, oh, well, if my customer or my competition over there is doing it, well, I better do it too. Oh, if my competition is now doing coatings, well, I better do it too. If my competition has their IDA logo on their homepage, I better do that too. It's like, yeah, but does your customer even understand that stuff? And are you saying the same BS that everyone else is saying? So, second homework assignment. Go to my homepage, check out how I structure it, how it's configured, the layout of it, how I talk to people, because my goal is to literally reach in, figuratively speaking, into their heart, their emotions, and wrench on it and pull out of that or squeeze, wring out of that the pressure points of them is like, yeah, I want my car detailed, but damn, I want Darren doing it. And damn, he's expensive. But you know what? I don't care because I want the best damn job on my car. That's what I want. And that to me is the perfect customer. Someone that can recognize that and someone that's willing to pay for value. And you know what? It works. I have people that literally drive, well, the simple answer is they will literally drive to me. Okay, there's one. And that's significant because I'm mobile. So as a rule, I drive to them. But if they're out of my service area, they will drive to me. Like the customer this morning, he drove his car, dropped it off to me, bam. I've had people literally drive out of state. Now, they do not drive out of state just to come see me, but they coordinate it because they know they're going to be out of or driving into the state, and they're close enough where they can configure it into the world. Or have people that will drive from different counties, literally 2, 3, 4 hours away for me to do their car. And I tell them, I'm very candid, it's like, dude, trust me, there's someone out there that can do this level of work. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy to find them, but there is guys out there that can do it that are far closer than myself. And typically what I'll hear is like, yeah, Darren, I get it, but I want you. I've seen your videos. I did my research. I want you. So go to my website, autofetishdetail.com. Check it out. Homework assignment are those two things. Check out your competition online. Go to my website. If in fact you are serious about growing your business and developing it. And then thirdly, I'll add a third little thing. Add a comment underneath here so other people can learn. This is a win-win situation. I'm trying to help you win. You're going to try to help those reading this or seeing this video win. So let us know what you find out in your specific area. If you're willing to say, hey, this is where I live, this is where I service, this is what I found out. And maybe you could call bullshit on me. Maybe say, hey, Darren, you know what? No, they're all vastly different. This guy says this. I was very compelled. If I had a car, I would have chosen him. And then I found this guy and he made a compelling argument and I wanted to choose him. And suddenly I realized there was 10 different guys and they all had unique value propositions. And I was stuck because they all seemed really that good. Maybe you'll find that. That just hasn't been my experience. Okay, that's all I got to say in 32 minutes or less.